Alright, y'all, I'm working on this, like I said, I don't know what year it is, 67, 68, C10. Today I'm going to be working on cutting the floor out of it. But first, I am putting in a new cab mount. And I'm doing this probably a more difficult way, but this is how I'm going to do it. He didn't want to put the whole floor pan in here, so we're just going to be cutting out the bad stuff and fixing the bad stuff. Yeah, we're going to be working on putting this cab mount in first. I have it cut over here. I have the bolts out there. I got to drill out the spot weld so this rest of this falls off. And then I can mock the new one up and get it where I need to and lined up. When I do that, I'm going to work on cutting part of this inner rocker out here, so that way the new inner rocker can just slide in. And I don't have a fancy shop or nothing, so I'm doing this in my driveway. But like I said, the customer didn't want to do the whole floor pan. He just wants to do the pieces that are rotted out, so that is what we are doing. Because if you don't know, in order to put a full floor pan in these older pickups, you have to brace the cabs here and here, there to there, there to there, and then crossways there and crossways there. Because if you don't, the cab can actually fold in on itself, and we don't want that. So I'm doing the floor support and the floor pan for part of this floor pan first before I do the rockers, just so that way there's support back in here for when I cut the rocker out. There's spot welds up here and seam sealer here, and then there's spot welds all throughout here and down. So all those will have to be drilled out and everything else. So I want support back in here before I cut all this out, because if not, we're going to end up with a catastrophe. And if you look on the passenger side, there's a little more work to be done. There's a hole there. The floor pan is separated from the cab there. And then there's just a little more rust in that corner over there. That floor pan's pretty solid in itself, but there's still a few spots we got to fix. So if you'd like, you can tune in. I'm going to try to post this as much as possible and make short videos. I'm not very good at videos, so we'll see. All right, we hit a delay here. Started raining on me, which I kind of just worked as long as I could, but now I'm tired of getting wet. But we have this back corner in. This floor pan did not fit very well, so we had to do some persuasion and some moving. This hole did not line up with the fuel tank strap hole, so I'll have to go from underneath and drill that out. I got this inner rocker in. I have the cab mount in. The cab mount holes did not line up either, so we had to drill those out and relocate those and move them. But it is in. And then our next step here is, I wasn't originally going to piece this together like this, but with everything fitting so bad like it did, it's just the easiest way. And then we're not doing full floor pan in this. He just wanted me to cut out what is needed. So we're going to cut this whole square out here, because all this is solid still. But as you can see, this is rotted. So we're going to cut it here like this. I wish I would have just left that, but it's no big deal. We'll make do, live and learn. But then after the rain stops, we're going to get this tacked in here, so that way we can work on this side rocker. And then we have to, I had to figure something out. I had to weld bolts onto the inside of this for the cab support. And I gotta put that cab support on also. But we are making progress, and that is all that truly matters. This is a budget build for the guy. It's not gonna be a high-end show truck or nothing like that. Just something he can cruise in and not afraid to get dirty, really.